Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the beauty, relationships, envy and seduction of those of you who have Venus within the 12th house within your natal birth chart, so stay tuned. However, before we do get started, certainly make sure that you give this video a like if you like it today. Also, make sure to subscribe if you have not already, and to, of course, click that little bell icon so that you can keep yourself updated with further content from myself. And one more quick thing to mention, and that is that I have some merchandise pieces available along with some ebooks there if you are interested. So you can go to the links in the description box for those if you would like. Okay. So with all of those introductions out of the way, Venus in the 12th house, let's do this. Okay, so first and foremost, when it comes to Venus, certainly make sure that you are looking towards your Libra house along with your Taurus house, because both of these signs are ruled by Venus within astrology. So just keep that in mind. Though if you do have Venus in the 12th house, then what this suggests is that you are learning many spiritual lessons when it comes to things like your self-worth, love, relationships, beauty, and feelings of worthiness, along with feelings of being desired. It may feel like you were put on this earth to figure out the very meanings of these things, not just within yourself, but within the collective as a whole. In fact, you may be very charitable and giving to the less fortunate, to those who feel lost or out of touch from the rest of the world. You can't help but be there for someone who is in need of some validation or some kindness. And so what may end up happening is you attract partners who lean on you and depend on you. These people who are looking for a savior. They are looking to be rescued. And so you take them in, so to speak. You take them under your wing. You provide them with things like stability, affection, and a kind voice of reason and understanding. Heck, you might give them shelter, clothing, your money, if it means showing your goodwill and compassion. Anything to help them get back on their feet. Perhaps it's you also who guides others calmly and gracefully, eloquently. You guide them to a new destination, or you guide them towards a new path that sort of catapults them to new horizons and new beginnings. However, there's a few things to consider about this complex and somewhat strange process. One of which being, you can have the tendency of refusing to let go. So you may cling and you may hold on tightly to partners who are only meant to be in your life for a little while, for example. Or you may refuse to accept the reality of a relationship because you're blinded by love, or you're blinded by infatuation, or by a false dream that is far from practical. And so in this respect, you may be in denial, but yet you still remain within this illusion because it's much more comforting and beautiful than pulling the plug, then also having to accept a grim reality as well, I suppose. Though another thing to consider is that others may cling onto you because they are afraid of letting go, okay? They are afraid of what it means to live independently, much like yourself, Venus in the 12th house. And so you can get caught up in some hazy relationships, the types of relationships that feel like they're forever and you can't ever be without this other person. And oh my God, they are my soulmate, I know it, and oh my God, they are my twin flame, I am convinced of this. You might even convince your partners of such realizations, and maybe there is some truth to what you believe. I don't want to disregard that. But the point that I'm trying to convey here is that these things can kind of make you a bit gullible, okay? A bit gullible and somewhat crazy at times. So you might, for example, stay with partners who hurt you deeply, or you might justify a partner's actions, their really crappy actions, because, oh, you're my twin flame and this is a part of the process, this is meant to happen. Or you might do the craziest, and I mean the craziest of things, to ensure that another person never leaves you. Your emotions may run rampant as you do all the things as a way to show your love. Oh, and how your seduction can be ever so subtle, whilst also being captivating and very, very powerful at that, because it's you, Venus in the 12th house, who gets people under your spell with feeling and compassion and remorse and empathy. Others may become attracted also to your artwork or to your music or to your rhythm, for example. And they may find it rather appealing that you are artistic and musical behind the scenes, that you bring out your skills and your talents when you're alone. Not to mention, you can be so charming and seductive when you're under the influence. Also, when you're in a super zen, calming space where you truly do let go. You might be that person who sends your partner songs, for example, or you might write them romantic letters, or you might write them some poetry as a way to express your love and your devotion. Though the thing about this is that it's a sacred exchange between you and your partner. It's something beautiful that you share together, which means a great deal to you. And God forbid your partner ever rejects you or hurts you, because you can be super, super sensitive to your partner's affections and love towards you. But then you can also be super sensitive to the lack of these things as well. So much so that you may lash out, or you may act pretty manipulative, and you may act in a manipulative way. Indeed, you can be super temperamental and moody when it comes to matters of the heart, but yet you may not admit these things. You may not present any ugly feelings above the surface, such as jealousy or envy being major ones here. Oh, no. You keep such feelings within love, hidden, subconsciously. But in these moments that you do show such feelings, it's as if you're not in control of your body. You're not in control of these feelings. And so you may do something like, or say something like, oh my, I don't know what came over me just there. Oh, that's so unlike me. No, I'm just usually not like that. Trust me. And so therefore, there's a denial of certain emotions that you have. Now, don't get me wrong, I can understand this. After all, it's things like jealousy and envy and greed and possessiveness that can destroy relationships, truly. Perhaps you know of this all too well, due to your personal experiences and your upbringing, Venus in the 12th house. Could have been that your parents displayed such feelings towards each other, leading to a separation or to a divorce, or leading to denial and falsely keeping the peace. It was like, we are going to smile and we're going to act like everything is fine. We're going to pretend like we love each other so much. Whilst deep down, things were not fine. In fact, maybe there were many sacrifices being made within your parents' relationship. And to be fair, relationships usually do require sacrifice, but just perhaps you clicked on to this sacrificial quality to relationships, within relationships. But you didn't understand fully. You didn't get how these things would work practically. And just as much, you didn't grow to understand how jealousy and envy, etc. worked practically either. It was a matter of, well, these things won't serve anyone, so they must go. Be gone. But the thing about our emotions is that they don't work like that. Therefore, perhaps you're coming to learn, Venus in the 12th house, how to integrate these things whilst also transcending them. So I'm going to give you a quick example so I can explain this better. So let's say you and your partner are having a discussion and your partner brings up an ex, but it's a totally harmless thing, okay? But then you start to feel jealousy. Instead of maybe being passive aggressive, for example, which you can have the tendency of doing, maybe what you can do is you can accept that you feel jealousy and then you can transcend that jealousy. Or instead of bottling up your jealousy and then walking around with it all day and then it just comes out anyway, again, you can likely just go internally and just think, you know what, I feel jealousy, but I can choose what I do with this jealousy. I can decide to transcend it by accepting it as a part of me, first of all. Or instead of getting caught up in feelings of shame and guilt for feeling jealousy, where it's like, oh my goodness, it's a sin to feel this way. Same thing. You can bring some type of conscious awareness to the emotion and accept it as a part of you, and then again you can transcend it. Though I also just want to mention, this is also not to say that feelings of shame and guilt are inherently bad, okay? Emotions act as signals within our body. They provide us with information about how we are experiencing the world. Though to be fair, you know what? You could even try opening up to your partner by telling them that you do feel jealousy, if you feel comfortable enough to do so, and your partner can maybe reassure you. However, the thing with this approach is to be cautious, not to depend on your partner to reassure you. You also must reassure yourself from within. And so I suppose in a way this leads me on to another thing, is that I think it's good to consider integrating things like worthiness, beauty, love, self-worth, and of course desire. These things that I mentioned at the very beginning. Why, you may ask? Because I think you often struggle to recognize these things within yourself. And so there's an unconscious need to be loved and to be appreciated and validated by others. And I have to wonder, is this a part of the reason for why you find it difficult to let partners go? And is this also why you fall for partners who are unobtainable? These people who are already in a relationship, or maybe they're married, for example, or these people who are too far away, or people who are maybe even in hospital or in prison as extreme examples. then again, this could be a situation where you are the one who is already in a relationship or married, Venus in the 12th house. Maybe you've been in a situation where you're being highly mistreated by your spouse. Maybe the sex is dead. The other person is being cunning and they're being manipulative, and so you find comfort in somebody else. Or maybe you simply can't control your desires at all. Though in any case, this could lead to the likes of you having secret affairs with others. Or quite possibly you fall in love with imaginary characters on TV or movies, or even you fall in love with individuals on the internet or on social media. Though whatever the case may be, or whichever way this plays out for you personally, there seems to be this need you have of being loved, and so you might do the craziest of things in order to receive that love. However, what you gotta keep in mind, Venus in the 12th house, is that no one is going to give you that love, especially given that there's no limits to the amount of love you wish to receive. Somebody could be staring you right in the face saying, "Here, take my heart, have it," but it still won't be enough, because the thing you're seeking out there is what you must learn to seek within, meaning integrating love and worthiness and validation from within. So what does this look like? Well, not being with someone who you know is not good for you would be a good place to start. And I don't just mean this for your sake, but I mean it for both of your sakes. I mean, think of all the time you could be wasting. And I know, perhaps you don't view it that way because of your spiritual values. But come on, are you really going to waste your life indulging in relationships that are unstable, leaving each other exhausted, especially emotionally exhausted? Honestly, you gotta think of the consequences to your actions within your relationships, Venus in the 12th house. You gotta think of the consequences when it comes to those relationship choices that you make. Though another way to integrate love and worthiness, etc., is perhaps by recognizing what you bring to the table. So what is it about you that is beautiful and worthy and valuable? Now, when thinking about this, try and go deeper. Okay, beyond the exterior, such as your looks and your dress sense. Really think about your spirit and your inner world. What you think about others, how you feel about others. Do you have a heart that is kind and loving and graceful? Do you feel a sense of inner calm and serenity? Perhaps you do, and so hold on to that. Cherish such qualities about yourself and recognize how such qualities about your inner world can elegantly impact your outer world. So this could be where you then touch the lives of others. Of course, like I said at the beginning, you're quite charitable and you're kind and you're very giving people. And it's these inner feelings of beauty and grace that might actually come through the way you dance or sing or flow, through how you paint or draw or decorate, or through camera work or through film. And as corny as it sounds, Venus in the 12th house, your beauty radiates and it glows from within. So just remember that. In fact, it's often you who finds beauty in what's hidden and buried and unknown. You see beauty in things that others don't see. Though kind of going back to the integration of validation and love and so on, I understand that perhaps it was you who didn't feel loved growing up. Maybe you have experienced much rejection and sadness throughout your life. Maybe you were overlooked by your parents, for example, or maybe you were ignored by people in school, or maybe you felt like nothing you did was good enough or worthy enough of appreciation. Perhaps you were made to feel like you were ugly and unattractive. And so in this way, perhaps Some of you struggle with opening up and being vulnerable. It's hard to let others in, especially if you were shunned in the past for doing so. Maybe the idea of putting yourself out there is terrifying. And so this is why it's important, I think, to integrate the things that I previously mentioned. So you're learning to accept and appreciate your inner beauty, and you're learning to build some type of self-worth, some type of value, which, by the way, this also involves developing boundaries. In fact, I think that by you getting in touch with these things from within, you can experience much more fruitful and rewarding relationships as well. Relationships that aren't so one-sided, leaving you to carry the other person. Though it is interesting because I can't help but think that there's a part of you that seeks to be saved and rescued and carried. It's you who wishes to be cleansed of your feelings of unworthiness, because this person loves me and will do anything for me, and so surely I must be worthy. And so therefore, by integrating love and worthiness, you can also learn to transcend the dependency that you have on others, for example. But like I said, with jealousy, there's also acceptance involved here. And so perhaps a part of your acceptance is accepting that a part of you wants to be saved. And just maybe these feelings are associated with how you felt shut out and alone growing up. Now, the last thing that I do want to mention is to do with desire and how this is something to integrate as well. See, perhaps growing up, you were made to deny certain desires that you had. Maybe you were told that certain desires were bad or wrong. Or maybe you were told that you couldn't have sexual feelings for another person. Or maybe you were humiliated by a partner when you brought up a desire to try together. And so you walk around thinking how wrong it is to have a certain desire while still craving whatever it is regardless. And this could possibly lead to all sorts of chaos and mayhem within your relationships. Therefore, maybe again, you are coming to integrate your desires. Now, this doesn't mean acting on them. It's about accepting them, recognizing them as part of the self, and perhaps also you are being called to transcend them. After all, the desire could be the desire to have sexual relations with someone who is not your spouse. But the whole point is that you're integrating and you're transcending rather than denying. Still though, by recognizing what your desires are, you can also bring them out. I mean, who knows? Maybe by accepting a certain desire, you can bring it into your relationship, or the both of you, you and your partner, you can enjoy together, right? Or maybe you change up your style or your clothing, or maybe you buy different pieces of jewelry and makeup, or perhaps you try new foods. Yum. Though whatever the case, by getting in touch with your deepest desires, who knows what new and beautiful things you can attract into your life, Venus in the 12th house. But just be careful of your tendency of overindulging, along with your tendency of developing a type of material addiction. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video all about the beauty, relationships, envy and seduction of those of you who have Venus in the 12th house within your natal birth chart. Now, if you do happen to have Venus in the 12th house, then certainly let us know what you thought of the video today. It would be good to get your feedback and your opinions. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then make sure that you click that subscribe button, and also make sure that you give this video a like, remember. And I will be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!